controversy, where some are outraged and others are applauding the same-sex kiss at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Senator Bernie Sanders gives his political view on Democrats' big midterm wins by backing his issues, and if it's making him think of another White House run. Plus, Sean Hayes is showing you Will and Grace's most ungraceful moments caught on camera. And find out how to cash in on the best Cyber Monday deals. Let's light up Hot Topics with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
Whoopi is out today, so we are here without our Whoopi. Also, we're going to be getting into a lot of hot topics later with Bernie Sanders, like what's happening at the border right now. He knows a lot about it, I think, and we'll talk about that with him. But first, I hope that everyone had a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Okay, good.
We all needed that reset button, I think.
You needed it. Donald Trump told America that he's thankful for himself.
I didn't think that was true, but it really happened.
He did. He said that. I'm thankful for myself, basically.
Didn't he say President T?
President T, yeah, Mr. T. President T is calling himself now.
Yeah.
I say thanks for Robert Mueller myself. But that's me. Would anybody have anything to say about what they gave thanks for before we move on?
Oh, I was just so thankful for my family and my friends. We had about 20 or so people that came over, and then
besides your family and friends, come on.
Well, I was going to show this. The very next day, I had a bunch of people come over, and we had what we call the Thanksgiving leftover snack down.
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
And everybody competes as to who had the best leftovers, and the people in the jackets are the judges, and the people in the hats are the folks that won. So, and that Floyd won Master Chef.
And Abby has a reason to be thankful right now. Because her mom is in the audience, the very lucky Mrs. Huntington.
Yes.
Wearing her signature leather pants.
Your leather pants have become famous, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So I was so lucky this year because our family's all over the world right now, and they basically surprised us a week ago, said they're going to come spend Thanksgiving one day. My dad's in D.C. He's getting the Sue Cobb Award for Exemplary Diplomatic Service, which is basically the Ambassador of the Year Award.
That's great.
Because they've been through a lot in Moscow. Yeah. They've lost 800 diplomats, and so his whole job is to keep them around. Isabel's the one on the right. Our family's chaos, but we love each other, and just spending time together, that's what Thanksgiving's about.
Do you watch The View in Moscow, or does Putin not allow it?
To get The View in Moscow.
You don't get The View in Moscow?
No, I can pull it up
you get
on
the
YouTube.
Talk, I bet.
Putin bans us in Moscow. We're not allowed.
It's nice to have you here.
Yes. Can I say one quick thing? Because I didn't think we were going to talk about our Thanksgivings, but since we are, I was talking to a producer backstage, actually someone who does our work. For those of you who aren't having great holidays, it's okay to be in your truth. I'm not having great holidays. Everyone knows what's happened in my life. Everyone knows what's happening. And I think sometimes you watch daytime talk shows and everything's bubbly and beautiful. If you are having a bad holiday season, right here, I'm with you, okay? Sometimes it's hard, and it's really hard with social media that everyone looks like they're having a perfect holiday. And for those of us that aren't, it's okay. And I just want to say that because I think sometimes people watch and think that everything's amazing all the time, and it's okay if it's not.
Yeah. That's true. Daytime television.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing about Thanksgiving is that everyone worried about political arguments breaking out over Thanksgiving, but the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade gave people another reason to fight this year. Some parents said they should have been warned about this moment. See what you think. Watch. So that same-sex kiss was from the musical The Prom, And some parents weren't happy. One conservative group tweeted that, quote, millions of children had their innocence broken by it.
Oh, for God's sake.
Is that such a big deal, really, to have two women kissing?
It's the For America group, but my favorite thing about this is you don't have any problem with anything President Trump has done in any way, so that's not a problem. But seeing the LGBT community reflected in a parade is the big problem. I used to be on the board of GLAAD. I've done a lot of LGBT advocacy work. It's important to have yourself reflected. And the group came out saying, the director of the prom said, people have been sending my responses from teens and high school students over the last 2 days, and it's been amazing. I think, wow, we've been able to make some people feel who are marginalized feel okay, and that means everything to me. Think of the young LGBT person in the middle of the country who maybe doesn't see themselves reflected all the time. I think it's really important, and I applaud the prom and Macy's Day Parade for doing it.
What do you think, Sonny?
I was surprised that the Macy's parade has been going on for 90 years, and this is actually the first time that we've seen a same-sex kiss, which sounds crazy to me. But I will say, as a parent, I'm sure there were a lot of parents that had to explain the kissing to their kids, and they may not have been prepared for that conversation. So for me, I'm thinking, I don't know that I want to see a man and a woman making out, and I've got a 4-year-old, and I've got to explain that. So I'm not sure how I come down on it.
But if you don't see it at a parade, you're going to see it at an airport. You're going to see it with parents dropping their kids off at school.
It's everywhere. Why is everybody making out everywhere? It's like I'm constantly like, you know.
Because that's life in the big city and the country and the rural areas. It's everybody's having sex everywhere.
Right now, high school bathrooms.
You realize how many people, right this second as we speak, millions of people are doing it.
They're making out. They're making out. It's like everywhere. Well, you know, I'm raising teens, so I'm like...
I love that that's where your mind goes.
God, I need it. Okay, we have to go. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Still ahead, Mika Scarborough. She took the plunge and took Joe's name in a post-Thanksgiving wedding. Would the co-hosts lose their last name for love? After facing presidents.
Okay, next.
Movie stars.
Oh, baby.
Just start rubbing it on him.
Pop stars.
I just found out that Lady Gaga and I have the same gynecologist. I'm just sharing.
And even doing this.
It's true. It's real.
It's not very pretty, but it's real.
Yeah, she's seen it, been there, done that. So if you're Joy Behar, what do you do to celebrate 20 years on The View?
I drink a glass of wine and take off my brassiere. What do you do?
Well, Thursday, we're saying, oh, joy, with a celebration 20 years in the making.
I was Barbara Walters' favorite. Just saying.
You were.
Thursday on The View, only on ABC. Head, Senator Bernie Sanders gives his political view. Will and Grace star Sean Hayes. And it's Cyber Monday steals on The View.
Welcome back. So, our congratulations to Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, who tied the knot over the weekend. Look how she looks adoringly at him. And Mika said she will be taking his last name of Scarborough. Maybe she's just tired of spelling Brzezinski. That has those 2 Z's in there, like, really? Is it a dated concept to take your husband's name or not? I had mine because my original Italian-American name was too hard to pronounce. Occhiuto. O-C-C-H-I-U-T-O. Okay?
That's a lot. Yeah, I understand that.
They used to call it Joy Aknitz. Here is Joy Akimido, is Joy Oshinto. Sometimes Japanese people would answer because it sounds Japanese. Akiyuto.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised if she didn't take her first husband's name, and maybe she did privately, I'm not sure. Because traditionally, I'm Livingston. I'm known as Huntsman, but I think everyone should. It's a private thing. I think everyone should make a decision for themselves. Whatever they like. My sisters kept Huntsman as their last name, but I wanted that. I wanted that for our marriage. I thought.
Did mom took Huntsman too, right?
She took Huntsman too.
What's your maiden name, dear?
Cooper.
You have a good one.
I have a good one.
It's so easy.
It's easy.
Yeah, but you know what? We thought about one day, like, with kids and, like...
I did it for the kids. It was very important to Manny for me to take Hostin, but I was already a fully formed human being when I married him, you know, and I had my law degrees under Cummings and everything. So I was a little concerned about it, but he felt that for the children, everyone would have the same last name, so I acquiesced.
That's interesting. See, I was not a fully formed human being when I
but I kept Cummings.
I wasn't.
I kept Cummings as my middle name. I sort of did the Hillary Rodham Clinton thing, and that's the only, and I gave my kids my last name as their middle name as well, because I thought it was very important to keep a piece of myself.
That's
right?
also a very like Latin thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why doesn't Joe Scarborough call himself Joe Brzezinski?
Yeah, men never do. It's rare for a man to do that.
Yeah.
Does Dominique want to take McCain's
Dominic.
name? Dominic.
It never even occurred to me to change my last name. I don't know if I'm just because I got married when I was 32 or 33. I don't remember now. 33. I don't know. How old am I? 34. Yeah, I just think I was too far along in my career and my life, and I actually don't know anyone that changed their last name. Even like my girlfriends in Phoenix who have a ton of kids and are very traditional. Same thing. She didn't want to not change her name because of her dad. So I do think it's generational. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I know you changed your last name. I didn't even know that.
It is more common though.
Although only 20% of women married in recent years have kept their names. So it's
there you go.
Only 20%. Yeah. So actually, the norm is to take the husband's name.
It seems very.
Today.
It sounds very retro to me.
Do those people like work on television and news and stuff though? Because again, it's my byline, and I'm a writer too.
Don't.
So
well, Harvard says the most important predictor was whether a woman made a name for herself before marriage. If she did, she kept her name.
By the way, to my husband's credit, he didn't care. It was not an issue.
All righty, we'll be right back.
Is Senator Bernie Sanders gearing up to ride the blue wave into the White House? And how does he answer newly elected Democrats who say it's time for the old guard to step aside? He's live on The View next.
The lovely and talented Senator Bernie Sanders is here. I love him. And he scored a big victory in the midterms, and a lot of the Democrats who won ran on the issues he's been talking about for a while now. So here to tell us where we go from here, which is also happens to be the title of his new book, welcome back, Senator Bernie Sanders. Senator, again.
Great to be back with you.
So we're going to jump into some hot topics with you, all right? So let's talk about the border, because over the weekend we saw authorities firing tear gas on migrants. Some of the children, a few were children even, and Trump is saying that he could close the border permanently. What are your thoughts on when you see this type of thing?
I think, Joy, for a start, we have got to understand who these people are and where they're coming from. In most cases, these are men, women, and children who are coming from countries like Honduras and Guatemala, El Salvador, where the poverty rate is abysmally high, where there is crime, where there is drug cartel violence, which is really terrible. And these are desperate people who want a better life for their kids.
Are they escaping violence?
Yes, in many cases they are. And your drug cartels there who are just doing terrible things. Does that mean that we can open our border to everybody? No, it doesn't. But it means that we have an asylum process that we have to respect. But most importantly, what the terrible situation at the border should remind us is that this country needs comprehensive immigration reform. This is part of that.
Right.
And what that means, above and beyond the borders, we have 1.8 million young people in this country who have lived virtually their entire lives here, going to school, they're working, they're in the military, who are in the DACA program, but are now frightened to death that they may be deported.
Those are people who were born here.
Dreamers. No, not born here. The dreamers. The dreamers. Came here illegally, but essentially...
But before they were 12, right?
Pardon me?
Before they were 12.
Yes, right. No other country. This is, for all intent and purposes, their country. And the American people are pretty clear that we have got to provide legal protection to these young people, and a path towards
But
citizenship.
Senator, what about the issue of using the military at the border? I mean, my understanding is that John Kelly and Kirsten Nielsen initially argued against granting this military broad authority at the border because it was beyond the president's constitutional powers, but they acquiesced. I don't know how you get around the Constitution.
I'll tell you this. I have, given the nature of this president, who I think has strong authoritarian tendencies, who seems to love people like Mr. Putin and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and the leader of North Korea, I worry very much about, for the first time, using the military in that way in this country. So I think that is a very legitimate concern. But bottom line is we need serious, comprehensive immigration reform. The Senate passed a bill a few years ago. The House did not. Democrats are now taking control over the House, and I hope that we can come together on a good
Which party blocks it the most?
Republicans. The Republicans in the House.
They want
but there is a, I mean, not to push back, but my father and Ted Kennedy tried very hard to get it passed, and I hope it's not a pipe dream. So what do you think we can do
Your
to have
father played, by the way, let me say to you, Megan, you know, your dad and I disagreed on almost every issue, but he and I were good friends.
I know.
And he and I worked together on veterans bill. And he's sorely missed because he was a Republican, I felt, had widespread support and did work with a whole lot of
Is there any
different
Republican
people.
like John McCain?
Yeah,
Like who? Who could you name?
There are many. I mean, we passed it in the Senate.
Yeah.
And here's where the world...
2014 or 13?
Right.
Yeah.
And here's where the world is going to be different. It's one thing not to bring forward legislation. It's another thing for Democrats to pass something decent and then Republicans in the Senate saying, oh no, I don't want to do it. And people back home are going to say, well, you know what, you should do it. So I hope the day has changed, and I hope the Democrats, not only on immigration reform, but begin to move this country forward in guaranteeing health care to all people as a right, not a privilege.
Right.
I hope that we can move forward to understand that if you work 40 hours a week, you should not be living in poverty in this country, because it's going to raise... Because we have to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. And I hope, by the way, that when we deal with fair wages, that we understand that it is unacceptable that women make 80 cents on the dollar compared to men.
That's true.
So what do you say to, because speaking of your party and the Democrats, they were successful taking over the House, and now they have control, and they've got a real opportunity to sort of rebuild the soul of the Democratic Party as we move into 2020. What is your advice to them as some want to focus on bringing down Trump? Is that the answer for success?
No, it is not. Look, I think it is no great secret that I have very, very deep concerns about Trump. Not only because he tried to throw 32 million people off health care, your dad's vote was the difference in making sure that 32 million people, by the way, continue to have health insurance. Not only that at a time of massive income and wealth inequality did Trump push for $1 trillion in tax breaks for the top 1%, and then come back with attempts to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. But I'll tell you what I disagree with Trump even more about, and that is his attempt to divide our country up based on the color of our skin, based on where we came from, based on our religion, based on our sexual orientation. You know, and it's a funny thing, you had conservative presidents like Bush. I disagree with him on almost everything, but he understood that the job of a president is, in these difficult times, is to bring our people together, not to get cheap votes by dividing us up.
What motivates that in him, do you think?
I think it's totally opportunistic politics, and he thinks if he can get one group to hate another group, he can pick up some more votes and win some states. But here's the good news, and I write about it in that book, is that despite what media thinks, we are much less divided as a people than I think others think. I think, for example, if you look at issues like raising the minimum wage, if you look at issues like guaranteeing health care to all people, if you look at issues like rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and creating millions of good-paying jobs, if you look at issues like making public colleges and universities tuition-free and dealing with this incredible problem of student debt. You've got 40 million people in this country who are struggling with horrific levels of student debt if you deal with the issue of climate change.
Oh, boy, that's a big one.
It is a huge issue. You heard the reports that just came out recently.
Maybe we can talk about it. We have to take a break.
Let's do it.
We're going to come back with more with Senator Bernie Sanders.
We're back with Senator Bernie Sanders, author of the new book, Where We Go From Here. Senator, thank you so much for coming on. I just wanted to know, and I was thinking about this last night, is there anything Trump has done that you're okay with or you like or you think he's done right?
Well,
you only have a minute.
he has talked about issues that are significant. He has talked about the need to rebuild our infrastructure. That's correct. He has talked about the outrageously high prices of prescription drugs and the fact that the drug companies are ripping off the American people. That's right. Question is whether it's just words or whether he's going to go forward with meaningful legislation.
Well, you know, according to Alan Dershowitz over the weekend, who has been in a certain way, a supporter of Trump, even though he denies that. But it sounds like he's a supporter of Trump. So he made a lot of news this weekend because he said that when Mueller releases his report on Russia, it will be devastating for the president, even though it will not be criminal. What do you think he's getting out there? What is he getting at?
I don't want to speculate. All that I will say on that, though, it is absolutely imperative that that investigation continue without being impeded by the Trump administration. Because if that investigation was stopped by Whitaker or anybody else, that really would be an obstruction of justice, which is an impeachable.
It sounds like Republicans in the Senate, though, are pushing to keep it going,
I believe that is the case.
Yeah, but Mueller, not Mueller, what's his name?
Whitaker?
No, McConnell. McConnell is blocking any legislation that would protect
All right.
Mueller.
I mean, there are two things. We want to have legislation which makes it clear that this investigation cannot be impeded. On the other hand, that's what McConnell does not want. On the other hand, that does not mean that he's against the investigation proceeding.
Okay.
You've said, Senator, that you wouldn't rule out another presidential run. You say you want to make sure that Trump is beaten in 2020. Are you that person to beat him? And if not you, who is?
Well, that is a great question.
Thank you.
Look, I would not be honest with you if I didn't say that I'm thinking of running.
Okay.
And also, there are other great candidates out there, many of them personal friends of mine. But I think what is most important right now is that Trump be defeated, his hateful rhetoric and his divisiveness and that we as a nation come together respectfully, and I'm thinking of your father in that sense, who led the effort, by the way, on campaign finance reform, McCain-Feingold, so that billionaires do not buy elections. I think there's a lot of work we can do in addressing the disappearing middle class, poverty, climate change.
Right.
There's so much work that we can do that we don't need to spend our time listening to somebody trying to divide us up. We got to come together and address the real crises facing
and also probably read your book, right?
And read my book.
Thanks to Senator Bernie Sanders. His new book, Where We Go From Here, will be out tomorrow. But everyone in our audience is going home with a copy to educate yourself. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Sean Hayes. The Thanksgiving holiday is officially over, and not only is your food coming up, I'm coming up too. But not to fear, I'm easily digestible and carb-free.
This week on The View, the Queer Eye crew is bringing the fab. Plus, things get marvelous with Rachel Brosnahan and Tony Shalhoub. And Joy celebrates 20 years on The View.
I was Barbara Walters' favorite, just saying.
You were.
This week on Justice Tomorrow.
The hilarious Will and Grace star Sean Hayes is adding a new chapter to a holiday classic in a children's book he wrote with his husband Scotty Eisenagel called Plum, How the Sugar Plum Fairy Got Her Wings. Please welcome Sean Hayes. In the flesh.
Yes.
And your cute husband on the front row.
Yes.
Well, before we get to the book, because I mean, the cover just captures your attention. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
But on the show, we were talking about what many people were, the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. And it was the first time you'd had two women kiss in the parade. And a lot of people supported it.
Yeah.
But there was also some backlash.
Yeah.
I feel like you would have some thoughts.
Well,
on that.
I mean, does anybody have any energy anymore for the backlash, people? I mean, I have no comment to that. It's like it's normal to me. It's normal to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, why give people who have the backlash any time at all? So next question.
We were also.
Ooh, this cold water is so warm.
We were also talking earlier about what we all did for our Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
I'm so glad you asked. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. It's so natural, this show. Thanksgiving was so...
I love you. Can you come back every day?
Absolutely. It's seamless. It's wonderful. Thanksgiving was a blast. I spent it with Scotty and a bunch of our friends and extended family up in Big Bear, California. That's my husband, Scott.
Hello.
Right there. Oh, my God. And he has a restraining order against me. That's why I'm up here.
What was his last name?
His last name is Eisenogel.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, I thought somebody was texting you that before we came back.
We did, but I couldn't quite understand it.
How long have you been married?
It's a good one.
Eisenogel, yeah, it's Austrian.
Yeah. How long have you been?
Been together 12 years, married 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
We were talking about whether or not you should take your spouse's last name. I guess you didn't want to
There's no
take
chance I'm taking that name.
You were already...
Everybody's like, Scott, what? Scott, and he's like, I-C-E, like the ice. Noggle.
Ice Noggle. But you were already a fully formed person. You had a career. You had all this going on. And so if you changed your name from Sean Hayes to Sean Eisenogel, then that could impact your career.
That I'm a fully formed person.
Fully formed
kind
person,
of like half animal, half... No, yeah, it would have thrown the world off. It would have thrown the world off if I changed my name. No, we're happy with everything. Everything is going.
Yeah. Well, fans were beyond thrilled when Will and Grace came back. I mean, people were losing their minds, right? And the show's always been so funny. You in particular. I think we have a clip.
Oh,
right?
gosh. Karen, I have a real gift.
I caught him crying at the trailer for the new... I just caught him...
We're going to Texas! Karen's flying... Oh, shoot. We're going to Texas! Karen's flying us down to...
She said...
It looks like you all have fun.
Yeah.
You actually make us laugh, but you're having fun too.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful gift that we've been given to come back and do the show, and it's for the fans and the audience who made it happen after we made that election video back in 2016. Still waiting for the results, and we have a blast. It really is like a family. I know it's corny to say that, but it really is. We've been together for 20 years, so we know everybody's everything.
Yeah, you can feel it when you watch it.
Thanks.
The show is as socially and politically relevant as ever. It was obviously incredibly groundbreaking, especially with representation for the LGBT community. What is it like playing Jack again?
Yeah, well, the biggest gift in the world, as much as I love being an actor, the biggest gift is the byproduct of the show, which I never expected. People coming up to me and saying, thank you. You helped me in my life. You helped me come out. You helped me make it feel okay to be me. And it's sad that it takes a TV show to do that, but I'm glad it's ours.
Yeah. Speaking of kisses, Will and Grace had the first male kiss on a TV sitcom.
Yeah,
right?
it was our character there. That was me. Yeah.
You look thrilled.
Yeah. That was our characters on the Today Show with Al Roker, and it was, I don't even remember what it was about.
It's all a big blur.
Yeah, it's all a big blur.
So let's talk about your new book, which is called Plum, How the Sugar Plum Fairy Got Her Wings.
Yes.
You wrote this with Scotty?
I did. We just learned to write about a couple months ago. We first worked with colors, and now we started writing. We thought of the idea because we have creativity in common, we have music in common, and when we first met, we just kind of found out we have the Nutcracker in common, which is like total Christmas nerds, and we're like, oh my God, you love it too, because when I was a kid, I listened to the record, it's this little vinyl thing, and you put it on, and I memorized every word, every note of every instrument in the whole ballet, and became obsessed with it. So we've been talking about it for years. Finally, we found the time. We thought, where did all these crazy characters come from? So we created an origin story, hopefully the first of many, with the Sugar Plum
It's
Fairy.
hard to write with your spouse. Did you have an easy time with it?
Yeah, no, it was, of course.
Well, you're still married.
Yeah, we're still married.
But working together can't
Pronounce
be
your last
easy.
name again?
Eisenogle.
Yeah, no, it went really well. I mean, we fought a little bit, and we went to our corners, and finally he decided I was right, and then we came back together and finished it. But everybody thinks their ideas are the best, and so, it's hard.
Where did you two meet?
He used to be the DJ on The Ellen Show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great gig.
Yeah,
I thought I recognized you.
Yeah. And so when it first started, go ahead.
Yeah, way back in the day, 2003.
So who made the first movie?
Well, it was, I asked Ellen, and then you were a fan of me, so, it's very healthy to date your fans. So we were actually fans of each other, and it's a long story. We don't have time for that segment.
How was it working with Sean? We got his version.
It was really actually fun, truthfully, but he was right. Like, being creative people, we have very strong opinions about things, and we know she should fly, or she should this. So we would go off into our corners, edit ourselves, come back. But like Sean said, recently, he says, I think approaching things like this, you have to be respectful, and that's kind of how we met. We fell in respect of each other, which ultimately let us fall in love with each other.
Right.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's.
I like that.
Yeah, you guys are great. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course,
We
Joy,
love
keep it
having
down.
you.
Yes, thank you.
She's still shopping.
I know.
All right, our thanks to Sean Hayes and Scotty Eisenogle, Will and Grace. You can catch it on Thursday night. Sean and Scotty's book, Plum, How the Sugar Plum Fairy Got Her Wings, is available now. And members of our studio audience are also going in with a copy. We'll be right back.